Today I'm gonna read and comment on the Fukanza Zengi. And the Fukanza Zengi is actually the um, instructions how to sit zazen. So it's a very very interesting text because Dogen, who is the founder of our Soto lineage, he traveled to China, and he would say he brought back the authentic teachings from China to Japan. But it's interesting. What do you call authentic? You know. So maybe something that is authentic. It cannot be matched, or you cannot buy it. Also, someone cannot tell you how to do it. There's no instructions for it, but it is. You would say the path of the great Buddhas, or it's actually the nature of all things. So authenticity is very important in our practice, and authenticity in our practice is to be actually a real human being. So when we sit zazen, actually we're not sitting zazen. When the zazen does us, or that activity of all things, or the authenticity of your being comes back and it returns, then that's being a true human being. So it's not we're not practicing Zen or trying to be good people, but we're actually it's very deep, you know. So we are being a good people. So it is something that's very good that we're doing, but we need to kind of it's like going to the gym, you know. It's like going to the gym, and a lot of times it's very painful because we're working out with different muscles that we haven't used in a while. So at the first time of doing it, which is actually everyone's first time, no matter how long you've been sitting. When things get very quiet, then the mind looks like it's even amplified. So you're all like, why do I even want to do this if the mind's amplified? So why? So we sit down, and we let the amplifications return to this authenticity of actually of touching the ground, or touching something. So it's very very important practice, and very so close that we look very far to try to find it, but it exists right here and right now, within each person, within each thing, within each atom, within each neutron, and then in and in and in, and also out and out and out. It exists. So Dogen, he wrote the Fukanza Zengi in 1227, and when he returned to to Japan. That was his first writing, and the Fukaza Zengi is for it's for actually everyday people like me and you. So it's not just for a specific person or a specific ranking, but it's actually it's for actually it's the principles of Zazen, and it's for everybody. Young, old, stupid, smart, rich, poor, black or white, colored, no colored, big or small. So it's for everybody. So these instructions are actually Dogen writes about why he brought it back. Since it has never been possible to learn about the special transmission outside of the scriptures. So this is an interesting one. Transmission outside of the scriptures, or the treasure of the right Dharma eye, much less the principles of Zazen. They are not transmitted here. So as soon as I returned home from the land of Sung, and students began coming to me for instruction, I was obliged for their sakes to compile this work, Fukaza Zengi, on the principles of Zazen. Long ago, the Chinese Zen master Bo Cheng constructed a monastery with a hall set aside especially for Zazen practice. In doing so, he effectively transmitted the true style of the first Zen patriarch Bodhidharma. And Bodhidharma, he's sitting right in back of Mark, but he sat then in a cave for 9 years and faced the wall. And then he transmitted the authentic teaching from then India and then to China, and then it went from China then to Japan, and now we receive it to this very day on the seat that you're sitting right now. This style was distinct from the briars and brambles of world attachment. So it's beyond all the Buddhist schools. It's beyond, actually, this is beyond religion. This is something that students should know and not be confused about. So these are the peer regulations and the standards for how to do Zazen. So the Fukaza Zengi, it's written in a way that talks about the posture, then the posture of the body, and how close that the body and the mind are. So when what happens with the posture and how to sit with our body, and then also the internal workings that go on, the internal workings of actually the mind and the body. So it's not just we're not just sitting down and waiting for something, like waiting for enlightenment, but it's actually it's accepting this posture as only this posture and nothing else, and then also accepting also the tidal wave of the mind, the amplifications of the mind, but then just accepting that and also letting it go. So you have a thought about surfing, you just let the surfing go. You have a thought about a birthday present, you just let the birthday present let go. and you let go and you let go, and soon the thinking mind or the internal workings, they go down to your chest, and then they return to the base of zazen, or the base of your body, or the gut, uh, which is your tanden. And so it's a then it returns to actually the ground, and that's then when we can actually touch the ground of being. So then that's being authentic, is when we can touch the ground and we know we're, they say grounded, right? People say grounded. I don't like to use the word, but so let me just read. Maybe I could just read a little bit. And the Fukaza Zengi is recited at temples throughout the entire world, and they do it during a time when people come together to practice, and in the evening times, it's recited. When I was at Eiheiji, um, I remember it was very, Eiheiji was very like institutionalized, and you'd be sitting and they turn these fluorescent lights on. It's just like like that, and you could hear all the lights pop on, and then they start reciting it, and you recite it, the Fukaza Zengi, you recite it very slowly, so it actually takes maybe 45 minutes to recite it, and um, it's a very slow recite it. So let me just read, and I just do some simple comments on it. The way is originally perfect and all pervading. So I mean that it starts off pretty big. So the way isn't originally perfect and all pervading. So this way is so great that it's greater than our conceptual mind, or than what we can think. So, but how do we? So it's not my way, or it's not your way, but how do we get out of our way to be in the way? So even to get out of the way to be in the way, then that's not the working or authenticity. That's putting your own stamp on it. So how do you let go? That's a good question, is how do you let go when you're a true person, or when you're doing zazen? How do you let go of zazen itself? How do you let go of actually the way itself? But the way is like the moon, the stars and the sun, the grass, the rivers, the pebbles. That's the way. The way is great. So, and it's all pervading. All pervading can be all, like all is totality. How could it be contingent upon practice and realization? The Dharma vehicle is utterly free and untrammeled. What need is there for our concentrated effort? Indeed, the whole body is far beyond the world's dust. Who could believe in a means to brush it clean? And yet, if there is the slightest discrepancy, the way is as distant as heaven from earth. If the least like or dislike arises, the mind is lost in confusion. Suppose you gain pride of understanding, inflate your own achievement, glimpse the wisdom that runs through all things, attain the way and clarify your mind, raising an aspiration to escalate the very sky. You are making an initial partial excursion through the frontiers of the Dharma, but you are still deficient in the vital way of total emancipation. Look at the Buddha himself, who was possessed of great inborn knowledge. The influence of his 6 years of upright sitting is noticeable still. Or Bodhidharma, who transmitted the Buddha's mind seal, the fame of his 9 years of wall sitting is celebrated to this day. Since this was the case with the saints of old, how can people today dispense with negotiation of the way? So this indeed, the whole body is far beyond the world's dust. So it's this body, this big body. When we come back to this you would say our true life, being a total human being, then actually it's the totality of all things, without the thinking, without the dualism of subject object, long, short, hot and cold. So when we sit, we have to be big. We have to give it space, give ourselves space. Yet if there's the slightest discrepancy, the way is as distant as heaven from earth. So if we're practicing, we come to practice and we're trying to get out of the way, or we're trying to get in the way, we're trying to get out of the way to get in the way, we have to let even that go. The concept of even being in the way or out of the way, just let it all go. So this is accepting, and it's actually standing up in the midst of this great working. If the least like or dislike arises, the mind is lost in confusion. So if we sit, you're sitting in Zazen, and you feel relaxed, then you hear a noise, and then your mind goes to that noise and it starts labeling things. Or it starts to say, oh, that's a chair. How long has it been there? It starts to create, you would say, create this dualism that we see from me to the outside world. So when we make these distinctions that arise, then our mind gets lost, and it goes thinking, and it turns into fabrication. So thought on thought upon thought upon thought, and then actually we're not even sitting. Actually, so sitting is important, to know that you're sitting on this floor. So the pain, when you have pain, when you have agitation, that's a good one too. That keeps the body grounded when you have agitation. So the pain in your legs is a good one, because it humbles you and it keeps you rooted. It keeps you in check. But then we usually we want to get away from that to be in a better position. But we don't move. And then we investigate what's happening in the mind, also in the body. Suppose you gain pride of understanding. You're all like, I got it. Like, you're sitting, everything drops, and it's all like, that's what he said. And then you're all, I want to do it again. You let also that go, your pride. Also, there's a lot of pride of being a spiritual person too. A lot of pride in that, like we're better than the world because I practice Zazen. But Let all that go. When you're in Target, you wait in line like the rest of the people. And you breathe in and you breathe out, and you do not distinguish yourself as different from others. So this pride is important. The zazen, the pain, also the thoughts actually that you have that come and go, that also a lot of thoughts that we don't want to see. This is also the pain and the rubbing that actually wears down the pride. It wears away that pride. You know, it's very very. So he's talking about what this practice does. You should therefore cease from practice based on intellectual understanding, pursuing words and following after speech, and learn the backward step that turns your light inward to illuminate yourself. Body and mind will drop away of themselves, and your original face will manifest itself. If you wish to attain suchness, you should practice suchness without delay. For the practice of Zen, a quiet room is suitable. Eat and drink moderately. Cast aside all involvements and cease all affairs. So a good one is you drop everything. So even in the sitting, I was trying to think of what to say, but you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to let everything go. You know, bank accounts, passwords, what right computer to work on, you know, recipes, relationships, family, how to do zazen. You let it go, so you don't start administering everything and put it in this cubicle. You know, you put it in this box. That's the intellectual. The intellect is quick and it works, but this is you're letting it go, and also you're it's an unraveling. It's an unraveling. Do not think good, do not think bad. So hold all things as equal, with equal weight. You walk into a bathroom and you say, I don't like that bathroom color. Okay, you hold it all in equal weight. So when we sit, when we have a thought, we don't do anything. We don't label it, we don't check it, we don't administer it, we don't categorize it, but we let it go. Another thought comes up, and then the same. So we don't attach to it. So anything that comes and goes, then we see it as, then we start to see, when we go to the gym, we see then everything as equal. Clean bathroom, you just see it as clean. A dirty bathroom, you just see it as dirty, but you don't label it. So that's what we do in our zazen. So even if you have pain, try not to label it, work into it, and then let it go. But it doesn't mean that you cannot shift. But then you do not, it's being impartial to all the things that we experience internally, actually with the body, and then we internalize it. When we internalize it that way, then we go into the outside world, and then we see the world as being more equal. You know, so then everything is equal, has its equal value. A pen has an equal value than a squirrel. The death of the squirrel is it's big. The death of a pen is also big. That's caring for the environment. It's a very deep principle. So you give your your um your judging mind, you give it space, and you let it go. Cease all the movements of the conscious mind, the gauging of all thoughts and views. Have no designs on becoming a Buddha. The practice of Zen has nothing whatever to do with the four bodily attitudes of moving, standing, sitting, or lying down. So cease all the movements of the conscious mind is a good one. And I know that we've all heard it many times over and over. But it's it's like the workings of how the mind works. So we give it space, right? And we don't tighten this grip. And when we tighten the grip, then we solidify this I, right? Even when we do zazen, it's interesting. If we're tight and tense, it solidifies actually this I, the ego I that separates me from you, me from everything, actually everything from everything. It gets separated. Therefore, we have dualistic world, and there's a gap between everything. So we hold. I think Roshi talks about the skandhas, right? The form, sensation, forms is your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind. When you sit, you don't respond to any of that. You hold it all apart. So the skandhas, or they say, oh, it's like a fist, or it's like a heap or pile, a bundle, right? If it's all together, then it sparks each one. You know, smelling something. Oh, that smells bad. It smells like this, and then it catches wildfire, and then it goes into like, oh yeah, you were on a trip, and then this person, and it just goes on and on. But if you hold them apart, which we're in doing zazen, we're doing nothing. We're holding them apart, and they vanish, and they will. It's a release. It's a release. So it's like they call it klesha. It's like a knot. You have people, tug of war, and this knot in the middle, and people pull this way. No, it's this way, and the knot gets harder and harder and harder. But you just put down the rope, and then the knot loosens up. But you have to keep on putting down that rope, and the knot loosens and it loosens and it loosens. And after a while, then you're not disturbed by this type of mind that we have been conditioned by, this greed, anger, and ignorance that solidifies this I and makes us separate from this world. So that creates hatred, creates anger, creates ignorance, creates war. We kill each other. We're killing each other because of this. So to do this is it's very valuable. It's very valuable. The sensations, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness, we hold all that apart. Do you know what time it is? 36. Okay. Let me just I read and then pick out stuff. At the place where you regularly sit, spread out a layer of thick matting and place a cushion on it. Sit either in the full lotus posture or half lotus posture. In the full lotus posture, you first place your right foot on your left thigh and your left foot on your right thigh. In the half lotus, you simply press your left foot against your right thigh. You should have your robes and belt loosely bound and arranged in order. Then place your right hand on your left leg and your left palm facing upwards on your right palm, thumb tips touching. Sit upright in correct bodily posture, inclining neither to the left nor the right, leaning neither forward nor backward. Be sure your ears are on a plane with your shoulders. and your nose in line with your navel. Place your tongue against the front roof of your mouth with teeth and lips both shut. Your eyes should always remain open. You should breathe gently through your nose. Once you have adjusted yourself into this posture, take a deep breath. Inhale, exhale, and rock your body to the right and left, and settle into a steady, unmoving sitting position. Think of not thinking. How do you think of not thinking? Non-thinking. This in itself is the essential art of Zazen. The Zazen I speak of is not learning meditation. It is simply the Dharma gate of repose and bliss. It is the practice realization of totally culminated enlightenment. It is things as they are in suchness. No traps or snares can ever reach it. Once its heart is grasped, you are like the dragon when he reaches the water, like the tiger when he enters the mountain. You must know that when you are doing Zazen, right there, the authentic Dharma is manifesting itself, striking aside dullness and distraction from the first. When you arise from sitting, move slowly and quietly, calmly and deliberately. Do not rise suddenly or abruptly. In surveying the past, we find that transcendence of ignorance and enlightenment and dying while sitting or standing have all depended entirely on the strength gained through Zazen. Moreover, enlightenment brought on by the opportunity provided by a finger, a banner, a needle, or a mallet, the realization effected by the aid of a fly whisk, a fist, a staff, or a shout cannot be fully comprehended by human discrimination. It cannot be fully known by the practice realization of supernatural powers. It is activity beyond human hearing and seeing, a principle prior to human knowledge or perception. This being the case, intelligence or lack of it does not matter. No distinction exists between the dull and sharp-witted. If you concentrate your efforts single-mindedly, you are thereby negotiating the way with your practice realization undefiled. As you proceed along the way, you will attain a state of everydayness. The Buddha mind seal, whose customs and traditions extend to all things, is found in both India and China, both in our own world and in other worlds as well. It is simply a matter of devotion to sitting, total commitment to immovable sitting. Although it is said that there is as many minds as there are people, all of them must negotiate the way solely in Zazen. Why leave behind your proper place, which exists right in your own home, and wander aimlessly off to the dusty realms of other lands? If you make even a single misstep, you stray from the great way lying directly before you. You have gained the pivotal opportunity of human form. Do not let your time pass in vain. You are maintaining the essential function of the Buddha way. Revere the person of complete attainment beyond all human agency. Gain accord with the enlightenment of the Buddhas. Succeed to the legitimate lineage of the patriarch Samadhi. Constantly comport yourselves in such a manner, and you are assured of being a person such as they. Your treasure store will open of itself, and you will use it at will. So like I said, it's um, the the zazen the zazen is only zazen, so it's not meditation, and we're not doing anything. And when zazen or the activity of zazen is itself just itself, then this body, or you would say this authentic teaching, is we feel it and it's imprinted within us. And that's when we have dropped the thinking mind. There's no one there. You're there, but then you're not there. You're there is in as in this total body. You're the sand. You're the sand in Cape Cod. You're the chewing gum in a in Safeway. You're everything when you come back to this posture. And zazen is doing zazen. So that's the imprint, is actually having all the parts of your body then become together. Just this form of zazen represents, or it is actually the form of all things then around. So it's like seeing, like going to Yosemite and looking at the valley and seeing the mountain across from you, but there's love there, there's compassion, but it's beyond than loving something, but it's this greatness that then we're connected. You're connected. Um, so, but we should continue to also inspire each other and help each other. It's beyond beyond words, and but it's something that's very true and authentic. And it's hard also. It's very painful, disturbing. But what else is there to do in life but be a true human being? Thank you.